Hi there. I wanted to introduce you today to one of my older quilts, one of my older patterns. It was made, I think, in 2013, 2010. Oh, but it makes it 13 years old. I don't always take this quilt when I go to shows or places anymore because it's rather big and too many big quilts are difficult to trot around and hang up. But I really like this one. I think it's a very elegant quilt that can be done in lots of different scraps, combinations, and still look very classy. There are only 2 blocks in the quilt. One block has the triangles in it. Here is an example. This is a birds in the air block, and it has dark triangles with 3 lighter triangles in the center, and on the other side it's just plain. It's a plain fabric. There are, I don't know how many, but there's a lot of these blocks in this quilt. The other block that's in the quilt is a plain block, which is right here. Just a plain 6.5-inch unfinished block. When I decided to make the quilt, I decided I wanted the background to be various tans and creamy kind of tans. I think they're not all batiks, but there's a lot of batiks in this background. I really think that helps the look of it. And it only, for me, it's easier because I can choose lots of different ones. I don't have to worry about buying several yards of one batik. The other blocks, the ones that are the birds in the air block, I, again, used many different blacks, black and gray fabrics, and then scraps for these little bits of, supposed to be the birds that are in the air, I suppose. So, when I made the quilt, I decided, since you have to make lots of little half-square triangles, that I would not do them one at a time, because that does take some time. But instead, what I did was a method where you can lay down 2 strips that are 2.5 inches wide. So I would have a dark strip, and on top of it, a color strip, and have them face to face, right sides together. Lay them down on the table, and then use a ruler, a triangle ruler. This one is an on-the-grid ruler. I think there's many different brands, but you can put this ruler on your strips, and you use this little tiny 3/8 of an inch section up here that you line up with your strips of fabric, and you can, if you line it up, let's see, if you line it up like this, then you just, well, let's see, I'm doing this wrong, backwards way. If you line them up, then you can just cut here, then you flip your ruler around, and you cut on the other side. So you're cutting straight, and then you're cutting an angle. And you have your blocks or your fabrics already right sides together. So you can just pull them over to the side and take them to the sewing machine and stitch them right together. It doesn't take as long, and if you're careful with your 1/4 inch seam, the blocks go together just fine. Each block will have 1, 2, 3 color and dark blocks, and then there's some triangles that go on the edge to make it like a triangle shape. So I really love this quilt. I think it's a great quilt. You can do so much with the different color combinations on the quilt. My pattern is pretty simple because it's one of my earliest ones, but I think it would be a great idea for somebody that's wanting to try to make a bed quilt and use a lot of scraps up. There's many ideas, or in my mind, there's a lot of ways you can make something and make it to be simply elegant.